Is everyone here? Hello, guys. Do you hear me?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is what an honor. I mean, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a privilege, and I feel honored. So again, thank you so much, and thank you so much for the song. It's uplifting and it's full of God's words. So I know that today I am going to share my testimony about you in the mission field. And I know we all have our testimony. Each of us has our own testimony, but then we have a different testimony that we could share for everyone. And everyone, individuals have different kind of stories to tell and to share that would help others, especially right now, especially with what we are. I know I can't imagine how you guys are doing there because you're alone, especially in this pandemic. So um fight. I mean aja for Korean word aja. And so yeah, I've been praying for you guys. We will continue to pray for you. And I know it's hard, but then we are all with me, it's a different situation because I do have my own family here that would comfort me, but you guys, you are just alone, so you need more prayer. So we'll continue to pray for you. So what I have learned and my testimony that the thing that I most learned in my mission field is, of course, staying strong and having faith in God. You know, um, as I joined the missionary, especially for Korean, the ministry in Korea and the missionaries in Korea, most of the missionaries are women, and so there's not much males. So most of the what is that? Like when I came to Korea, I feel like um, is it pressure? I got pressured to what are okay, so what are you pressured right now? Like with me, I got pressured to with my mom, like, so you're gonna stay in Korea for like forever and then you're not gonna marry. So it's like I know that you guys have the same even though you're gonna deny it, but I would say probably slightly, but one of you has mostly like 90 90% of your parents have been telling you if you're single right now, when are you gonna marry? But then the most I would I would share this to you. I have a lot of testimony, but because you are missionaries there, I think this would be a good one. So when I came to Korea, of course, we know that we should not have a relationship in the mission field. But then when I went to Korea, I was alone and I was assigned in a countryside, which is like you could hardly know, you would never know anyone there except in online stuff. And so I was just praying the whole time that, and my mom was just would keep telling me that just go home because like what are you gonna do there, then my brother is already working in Korea also, but not as a missionary. But then my mom would, and then so my mom told me that just go home so you can work and then you can find a husband. Because I don't know why, that's just my parents, that is just my mom, and so I know, but I told myself, and I have faith in God that this is what I have promised to Him, as as I felt and as I have treated God as my best friend, or my especially my dad, that I will continue this ministry until I get married, until I find my husband. I will continue to be a missionary, whatever whatever kind of missionary ministry I will be in until I will get married. And so one time, well, when I was in Philippines, was having I was assigned in Manila, and I met an American guy, which is in internet. But then what made me actually in love with him is that he's very strong in faith. Everything he has read all the Ellen White's book, and then so that it, and I feel like, okay, this is the guy I want, because he's very strong. Everything that he knows, that should a guy know, or should a godly person, an Adventist person should know, everything was in him. Though he doesn't have a talent or whatever, but that's my number one main thing. When I have when I find a man, it has to be it has to be faithful. And I stayed in the mission field. I keep While I'm in the mission field, um, I keep praying that God would just lead me to a guy where I should be in the future. And the mission field actually helped me a lot to be strong also. And the more, and I'm so thankful that I was actually in a missionary as well as I was in the ministry, because the more I know God, the more I read Ellen White's um, book, which is the Adventist Home, the Step to Christ, the Counsels of Food and Diet, the more actually God is leading me to a person which I should, and not just pick anyone that would show up in the church, or anyone that would, hey, like, are you interested of me? Like, especially for us, like, especially when 24, 21, 22, 24, 25, you become stressful, or you wanted to be established in life. And so I know that, and that is why I stayed in the God's ministry. And so I stayed being a missionary. And yes, I've learned a lot of stuff there, as what I have learned in my life right now. And so I'm what also the one thing that I've shared with you, that I have not shared with you, is even when I was young, when I grow up as the eight, and so I have learned about the 1,000 missionary movement, and I've met missionaries. And when I was 9 years old, I told myself, I am going to of the 1,000 missionary movement when I grow up. And by starting, I actually did not. I just prayed once that day, and every time I see them, I was like, Lord, I hope I'll be one of those people that are doing your mission work. And I God has just put everything into pieces. First, suddenly my sister became a missionary. So after that, it's like, oops, I'm in a thread now, like I'm on the hook. So, and then first I was like, oh, so my sister became a missionary. That means I will be one of the missionary, because this is just gonna be easy. I thought it's gonna be, the process and everything, but then just put lights into my face, and hope. And then after that, after I've known my sister being a missionary, right after that moment, I started praying for a partner that would lead me to, and would be a good missionary. So it's like, probably my sister, I would say, through 4 years that, before I became a missionary, she was ahead of me 4 years. So 4 years of praying. Every time I remember that, I would always pray, Lord, I want to be a missionary, and I want a partner that would be suited for me. What actually happened is, in the mission field, in the training, I actually wanted a Korean partner because, it's just, I think, so I just want a Korean partner. But then my attitude at that time, I'm so immature that everyone would not like to be a partner of me, even though the Filipinos. But then I was just immature and I'm learning stuff. Sorry. But then that time, God answered my prayer. You won't imagine, almost the Koreans that time was half of the populations are Koreans. So it's like, oops, I have more. I have the chance to have a Korean partner because almost the populations are almost half of the populations are Korean. So it's easy to get a Korean partner. But that God had put me in that situation because no Koreans would want me to be a partner. So that was an answered prayer, how great God is. He knows where I should be and he knows my heart desire. The next, I actually did not know that also God had been preparing me and God had been answering my prayer because as a as the partner that I had actually impact my life. Why? Maybe other people, other co-missionary did not know this, but then actually I realized with her, with everything that she showed me, how important it is to read Ellen White's word, and she would just from I have in the Bible I have experience with her from 3 a.m. she would wake up until the breakfast time. She would just read and pray, and that I inherited it from her. And so then I started reading a lot of Ellen White stuff, and then I started, okay, so Lord, I became a missionary, and I want to be a missionary until I started to realize that until I will get a husband, until I will get married. And I keep praying, even though from before I keep praying, Lord, just lead me to a guy. Okay. And then lead me to a guy where you want me to be. When so then I got sent to Korea. I had, as I told you, um, I met a guy online and he's American and he was really good in everything. I actually just met him in Facebook. I did not really was looking for everything, but suddenly we become friends and I have known him. But then when I was in Korea, I was so devastated that we broke up for a reason. And it was a four years long term relationship, so it was really really so hard. But then I kept on, and you know how hard it is to have heartbreaks, and especially in the middle of that's why as a missionary we shouldn't have a relationship. But then it was a blessing for me because it leads me more to God, and it leads me to pray, and it's just changed my whole um being. And now right after in the right after, during that time, there was like 2 months I have fasted and I prayed that God would just help me to cope up. And it actually led me to become more spiritual, especially in God's word. And it lets me lets me to grow up as a mature person. And I know that God put me in that situation because he's preparing me for what I should be as a wife in my future husband. And be having, and the verse that actually I have to share with you, that when I was crying in the room with all my problems, I opened my Bible and the verse that popped up told me that Jeremiah 11 verse 29. I know that the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you. We all know this, right? Um, So I said, okay, Lord, you have a plan for me. And I know that um, this is your will. Right after 2 months, I was I went to, just because it's very, my mission field is in the countryside, so I was just like looking for a friend just nearby. Suddenly, my husband right now came in that website and appear, and I actually scrolled. I actually just, it was like a new Facebook thing, like everyone could see, but it's like a Twitter that everyone, even though they're not your friends, you could see them. I just look up his account, and I was like, oh, I'm not interested with this guy. But then he actually messaged me when I was in Korea, and and then after that, I didn't know that he is actually interested in me, and then we end up and then we end up being together, and now he's my husband. I share this to you because why? I know you guys are all, most of you are single. And I want you to know that God has planned for everything. If I would share to you how lucky I am or how blessed I am with my husband, he is very, very, um, I would say, I'm I'm so blessed. Though sometimes, of course, we are not perfect, but my husband is very, very strong, especially the foundation of in the foundation of our church, the foundation of into Seventh Day Adventists. But every time that we would talk about the Bible, he was like, "Are you really a missionary?" Like, boy, you didn't know this. Did you really grow up in Seventh Day Adventist? Like, why you didn't know this? And why like that, like that? But then I'm not actually. I was in the bathroom right now because I'll be embarrassed if he would. I don't want him to hear a lot of things about it. But God would always lead you to the person that who you prayed for, and and this also happened to one of the pastor. Actually got he called me, one of the pastor in Korea. He was like almost gonna give up on the ministry because he couldn't find wife. And he called me that he called me, Gretel, I can't find a wife. I need I would just have, I think I'm giving up. I am not gonna be a chundusanim or muksanim anymore. And I told him, Pastor, actually last year my mom was telling me that, telling me to sorry, telling me to give up and just be a teacher and continue my education. But then I told him, Lord, this would be the last year, or the last year that I'm gonna be a missionary. Oh, no, no, no. I told him that I'm not gonna give up on your ministry until I get a husband. And if I will, I will give you another year to tell me where is the guy that I want you to have to you want me to have. And that year, God had told me. Also, the next year, that the pastor and the pastor said, "Okay, I will try that," because because he knows that I met my fiance, which is my husband now. And he said that, okay, I'm going to try that. And then the year later, he called me and said, Greta, I found a girl, I found a wife that I'm going to marry. Now I'm going to continue to be a Muslim. I'm going to continue to, I'm almost going to give up. But then thank you so much for your advice. And now he's also in very, very active as I think he is a singer in Korea right now. One of the singer in one of the conference, and a pastor. So um, I'd like to share the biggest um, gift and my biggest testimony that I have, and my biggest gift in mission field is actually my family right now, as a strong um, SDA and a strong believers of 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 our faith as a Seventh Day Adventist. And so I hope you guys um, learned, though it's kind of a little personal and not, actually should be, probably you think that it's not as a message, but I just want to tell you, especially with the ladies, that pray, pray, continue to pray for what is your heart desire. It's not just on having a husband or everything. Continue to pray for what's your goal. Continue to pray, and always, especially fast and pray, and God will lead you, and God will answer your prayer in according to your will. Thank you so much.